Hey guys, welcome to Mr. Mayhem Movies yearly horror movie review series. Now, last year in 2020, we tackled the entirety of the Puppet Master franchise along with any full moon adjacent films. That ended up being 27 episodes total, which I can tell you right off the bat, we are not going to try to do that again. Now, for this year though, we'll be doing about like one a month, so a total of 12 for this yearly review series, along with like the occasional extra review that's unrelated to this one. And as the title suggests, we're going to be reviewing the Demon series from Italy. And there's actually probably much more sequels than you would have possibly guessed for this series. Now, last year I did these reviews with my brother Shane, and he's one of the three heads of Mr. Mayhem Movies along with myself. We decided to not do that this year and just have me record the yearly review series, along with like making the runtime just much shorter than before. And this will just help us like crank these out much faster pace, and in that way we can like focus on putting out some short films, maybe even a feature-length film. We have like plenty of projects going on, plenty of other writing things I'm working on, so just kind of streamlines the entire process. Now, expect maybe in some of the extra reviews we do for other important people from Mr. Mayhem Movies to pop up, but for now, you're just stuck with me. Now, this first review will kind of just work as an overview of the whole series in general, because it's kind of a confusing one. It began in 1985, was a movie aptly called Demons, directed by Lamberto Bava and produced by Dario Argento. Now, as me butchering these names implies, this is an Italian movie. And not only is this a classic of Italian cinema, but also a classic of the 80s horror genre in general. The movie was just about some gooey and grotesque demons invading an old cinema, and like havoc ensues. But thanks to a great heavy metal 80s soundtrack with bands such as Saxon, Accept, Motley Crue, and even Billy Idol, this became a huge hit in not only Italy but also the United States, and it spawned a sequel 1 year later in 1986 called Demons 2. Again, this movie was directed by Lamberto Bava and produced by Dario Argento, and it featured a pretty similar plot to Demons 1, so the only thing that was really changed was instead of a cinema, it was at an apartment complex. Now, I have only seen, up until this point, the first Demons movie, so I won't be able to give you any type of overview of if they're actually good or not. So I guess you're just going to have to tune in for future installments of Year of the Demons if you want to know my opinion. Now, I hope everyone's appreciating the simplicity of Demons 2, because from this point forward, logic gets thrown out the window when it comes to naming. Now, the next up would be a movie called The Ogre, released in 1989. It's also known as Demon 3, The Ogre, and it was directed by Lamberto Bava, who also directed Demons 1 and Demons 2. It was made for a 4-movie miniseries on TV called Bravata Giallo. Don't hold me to that pronunciation. And it was about a woman who accidentally brings an ogre, not a demon, from her nightmares into the real world. Now, a second Demon 3 followed in 1989 called The Church, directed by Michele Soavi and produced by Dario Argento, who also produced the first 2 Demons. Now, this movie was originally going to be an official sequel to Demons, but during the really beginning of production, Soavi believed that this movie should be more sophisticated horror than what Demons was, and decided to rename it The Church. So it was never really officially released as Demon 3, but it's known as the most official Demon 3 you can find out there. It's about a bunch of ghosts in a cathedral, trying to resurrect an ancient demon. Now, I can't say if this movie's good or not, because I haven't seen it. It sounds, and from what I've read, probably is one of the best sequels for Demons that we'll get. But we're not done with Demon 3 quite yet, because there was another movie known as Demon 3, or Black Demons, released in 1991. Now, it was directed by Umberto Lenzi, who I personally do not enjoy movies from, and it was about a bunch of people at a Brazilian plantation besieged by zombies, not demons. I can't say I have a lot of high hopes for this movie, but there's only one way to find out. Finally, we're moving on to Demons 4. It's about time. Now, this one's more commonly known as The Sect, or even The Devil's Daughter, and it was released in 1991. It was directed by Michele Soavi, who's the director of The Church, as well as being produced by Dario Argento yet again, his name is all over these demon movies. Now, this one has a little bit more clout than some of the other sequels that are to come, and this one was about a teacher who kind of becomes entangled with a satanic cult. The Sect was followed by Demons 5, The Devil's Vow, or The Mask of Satan. Now, this is when they begin a trend of retroactively renaming movies for re-releases, because this one came out in 1990. It was directed by Lamberto Bava, who directed the first 2 demon movies. And it was about a bunch of skiers who awaken an old witch, and then chaos ensues. This one's probably the hardest to find out of all the demon movies, because I don't believe an official DVD release has ever been released in America. It also, if you notice, there's a severe lack of the word demon in this description. That's a trend that also continues. Next up, we have The Black Cat, directed by Luigi Cozzi in 1989, and not the version directed by Lucio Fulci in 1981. Now, it's also based on the story of The Black Cat from Edgar Allan Poe, and it features an actress who is experiencing visions of this witch that she's playing in a movie, and it has deadly consequences. Now, again, I have not seen these movies, so the jury is still out on whether or not this has anything at all to do with Poe's story of the Black Cat. Next came Demon 7 The Inferno, otherwise known as Dark Tower. Not that Dark Tower. It was directed by Freddie Francis and Ken Wiederhorn in 1989, and it actually has the distinction of having virtually no connections to Italian cinema at all, because it was made in the United States. Now, this movie is about a bunch of just strange happenings happening at a skyscraper that lead to a bunch of people dying. It also was released with the title Curse 5, which is a film series I will not be reviewing or watching again anytime soon. But don't worry, guys. We're almost done. Now, the next demon movie is the most tangentially related to demons, because I only found a few sources to even confirm it's related to the series. Now, this one was released in 1990. It was called Demonia, also known as New Demons, and it was directed by Lucio Fulci. Now, it was about a bunch of murdered demon nuns being let loose and subsequently killing a bunch of people. Because, that's what demon nuns do best. Now, this sounds kind of cool, but at the same time, I've read some not-so-cool reviews about it, so I'm not too sure what to think. I'm just glad that the word demon has finally made an appearance again. Now, lastly in the series, we have the classic Cemetery Man, released in 1994. Now, this was also known as Demons 95 in some territories. This was directed by Michele Soavi, who probably his most famous film, and it starred Rupert Everett in the title role as the Cemetery Man. Now, it's about this cemetery caretaker who has to kill the undead who is coming out of the graves and making sure they all stay where they need to stay. Now, this is known as one of the classic zombie films out there that is essential viewing for anyone who considers himself a hardcore zombie fan. Now, since I have not seen it yet, I will not hold it against you if you haven't. So that leads us to the conclusion of our Demons overview. Now, that brings our total up to 11 movies, so you'll be getting 1 episode a year of the Demons each month for the rest of the year. Try your best to control your excitement. Now, like I said earlier, I will try my best to also put out some other reviews, but mainly we're focusing on releasing short films and also to focus on my own writing. But be on the lookout for a bunch of short films coming out this year, including a prequel to our feature film Damage Control 3 Revelations called Skullface. Now, with all that said, tune in next month to see our review of the Italian classic Demons.